Today is Friday, Parashat Lecha. At the end of this week's parasha, the very important mitzvah of Brit Milah is given to Avraham Avinu. This is the first time that the mitzvah of Brit Milah is given to us in the Torah. Very important mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that we continue from generation to generation to celebrate it with much joy. And it's a mitzvah that is to describe it in a figurative way. Imagine yourself a room that has a very thick curtain over the window, doesn't let the light in. You open the curtain and the light comes in, you're able to see outside, you're able to even see inside because the room was dark before. When we circumcise the Orla, figuratively speaking, it's as if we opened that curtain and the light of spirituality, we are able to connect with it now better than when the curtain was closed, when the Orla was still there. It is also a sign of a covenant between us, Am Yisrael, and Hashem, placed in a certain place that is responsible in a way for the continuation of the next generation. It's an important statement, an ot, berit. It's a sign of a covenant between us and Hashem. The Brit Milah is done on the 8th day. Now, if for some reason the Brit Milah had to be postponed, then you do it as soon as you can do it. Brit Milah, the 8th day that happens on Shabbat, you can do the Brit Milah on Shabbat if that's the 8th day. But if it's not the 8th day because the Brit Milah had to be postponed, maybe the child had jaundice or some other reason, then you cannot do it on Shabbat. If it's not the 8th day, it'll have to be done during a weekday. Now, if a child was born at the end of one day, the beginning of the next, in other words, after sunset and before the stars are out, then you do the Brit Milah the next day. But if the next day is Shabbat, and it's doubtful whether that is the 8th day or the 9th day, then you postpone it to Sunday. What happens if Sunday is a holiday? Or Sunday and Monday are a holiday? You cannot do Brit Milah on holiday unless it is the 8th day. And in that case, if a child was born on a Friday late afternoon or early evening, when it was a doubt whether Shabbat had started or not yet, then the Brit Milah would be postponed until later, and if Sunday and Monday were a holiday, then it will be postponed until Tuesday. These are some of the halachot that have to do with the Brit Milah. It's a very, very important mitzvah that connects us, Am Yisrael, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, if somebody for some reason didn't do the Brit Milah when he was young, as happened in Russia, there was a certain time where the regime there was against religious observances, including Brit Milahs, and people came at a later age, they were already adults. Then if he was not circumcised, then a person would have the obligation himself. When he was 8 days old, and when he was a young child, he was the responsibility of his father. But when a person is already an adult, then he has to make sure that he gets a Brit Milah, and it's a responsibility of the person himself. He cannot say, well, it was not done when he was a child. He should make sure that the Brit Milah is done as soon as is possible, and that's the mitzvah that is given to Avraham Avinu at the end of this week's parasha. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.